All right. So, like I mentioned, we're just going to talk about how, when you have a team that's built out, you have so much deal flow, um, how to stay organized. How does our acquisition team build their systems to have, how do we follow a system to beat the inevitable chaos, communicate effectively, both internal and through third parties and brokers and management? What do we utilize? What resources do we use? How do team members define their roles? Implementing software, which is crucial, and just other things along the way. So I'm going to pull up this presentation sheet that I made. This kind of just reiterates what I just mentioned. All right, so let's jump into it. So following a system, beat the chaos. So what do I mean by that? So okay, there's ebbs and flows of the real estate market. Everyone knows that. So what I'm really talking about is when you start to build up a pipeline, you see a ton of deal flow coming, you have communication with all these people, all these brokers, management, call them debt brokers, insurance brokers, whatever it may be. How do we track all this, and how do we make sure that we're staying on track and communicating properly? So what we've done over time is create tasks lists and assign them to individual people. It's something that we actually implemented recently called the EOS system. It's from a book called Traction. We use this on our multifamily team. And what we do is we give actually each quarter, we meet up as a team and we give ourselves measurables and goals for that individual week. So we break down a bigger goal. Okay, so we want 10 deals per year. We want to win 10 deals. How do we get to that? So we break those down into smaller months or quarters, and then into individual weeks. So in order to do that, what I've broken down, and these are actual numbers at the top right, these measurables here, this is my weekly goal. I want to outreach to 15 different brokers, meaning give them a phone call, have a 5, 10, even 1 minute conversation with them just to see what's going on, see if they have new deals on the market. And my goal with that is to source 11 new deals. Another way for me to track this is to have in-person meetings. So it's my goal every single week to have one in-person meeting with a broker, with an external third party management, maybe another operator, maybe a developer, and learn what they're doing, right? Another thing is to tour property. Even if it's not one on market, go drive by it, see what's going on. Maybe it's a new construction, something like that. And then offer out. We'd like to get one offer out per week. And then Ryan, our analyst, likes to underwrite 7 of the 11 deals. So this is just like a snippet of a screenshot of what we do each week to follow some sort of system. And what this does is it helps us win deals effectively and stay on track with communication. Before, it gives us the opportunity to give quicker feedback, and track our targets for the year. So another thing is, another system that we've built is we actually took some software, which I'm going to talk about later, for our underwriting, that it used to take 3 hours to effectively underwrite a proper multifamily deal. And that with these systems we've built, underwriting systems, different levels of underwriting, the way we communicate, it now takes us about 30 minutes to, I wouldn't say fully vet a deal, but to have a good understanding of where a deal may lie. If it's a deal we want to pursue, if it's a deal we want to go tour or have more conversation about, it takes us about 30 minutes. Because of the systems that we follow. And because of that, we're able to give a lot faster feedback to the broker or all the people involved in the deal. What does this do for us? When, call it in 2021, 2022, when the market was supporting a lot of acquisitions and sales, we were underwriting upwards of 40 deals at once. And there was some bottleneck, and what we had to do was create some sort of measurable and software implementation so we could smoothly get all these deals vetted and closed, or whether we're going to pass on them, offer on them, give feedback on them. And because of these systems, one example that I'm putting up on the screen, we were able to do that to get rid of this bottleneck. I thought this would be really cool to share something that we're tracking. These numbers are a little bit skewed, but today's March 28th, 2 or 3 more days left of the first quarter of 2023. If you're rewatching this, that's wrong, but here's a little snippet of what we've accomplished so far. So our goal is the gray, and the orange is our actuals. So this quarter, I've actually reached out to a lot more brokers than what I was out to achieve. We sourced a lot more deals. This just shows that the market's slower than what it used to be, what we were hoping for, kind of something that we understood was going to happen. But it's good to actually see. I'm having a lot of conversations, not as many deals coming in. I got in front of a lot of brokers. This was because I've been going to a lot of conferences, something I'm going to talk about. I got out and about a lot more. I wasn't, because of this underwriting, because of the system that we've created, it enables me to go out and travel more and see a lot more face-to-face meetings and brokers and other operators. For instance, I'm going to Nashville this week. I'm going to meet a few brokers. I'm going to meet some team members. Before, if we didn't have these systems in place for underwriting, it wouldn't allow me to do that. Moving on. So offers out, we had 13 offers out. That was our goal. It's actually higher now. And then deals underwritten, same thing. So a little bit less than what we were targeting for. That goes hand in hand with deal source. Any questions, please feel free to ask away. I'm going to go to the next page. Whoops. Okay, I'm going to talk about communication and how I personally, or the team and I, set up some of this. So for internal communication for our acquisitions team, we actually talk on a daily basis. We're all remote. That's why I'm calling in from a webinar. I'm here in Austin, Texas. Some of the 2 other teammates that are on this call that I talk to every single day, one's sitting in Charlotte, North Carolina. The other is in Chicago, Illinois. So we actually have a daily call set for 9:30, and not the weekends. And we talk for maybe, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 2 hours, just talking about what we need to accomplish for that day, what has happened later in the afternoon from the day before, etc. And this is actually just a screenshot from last week, my calendar. Every Monday, so today's Tuesday, so the 21st was a Monday. Every Monday, we actually have an entire team call for the acquisition. So we have other platforms, we have other assets that we acquire, and we have a team call every Monday at the same time. So that's how we communicate. We use software. We use Microsoft Teams to talk internally. But having that call is really important. We've actually used to only do it 2 or 3 times a week, and found that there were things that were needed to be talked upon every single day. So that's how we talk internally. Externally, this is something that I've built out over time. Call it a CRM tracking, whatever you may be. So in order to contact these 15 brokers per week for myself, I created a Excel sheet of how to track this and how to set reminders to communicate when I need to communicate to these people. So what I did was I categorized how important this communication is, whether it's someone that is in a market that we really like, or maybe not so much, or have a deal in that market, whereas a market that we don't have a deal. I put where the state was, the firm. I just made up random X, Y, and Z for example purposes. Individuals. So I'll put, okay, John Doe is on, this works at Newmark or JLL, right? I'll have their number. I'll say, okay, Chris, this is for you to contact. It could be other team members, their responsibility. Tier, how many times am I, we call it touches per month. How many times am I calling them or communicating them per month? Or should I be? At what week of the month? So for example, The first week is just, on a standard calendar, the 1st to the 7th. So that week I should be contacting them, and then I'll put a day of the week. That Thursday of the first week, I should be contacting them. And I actually put this in a software where it auto reminds me to communicate to these people. Don't fall behind. So it's something really simple, but it helps me. We have, I don't know, maybe over 100 different firms or individuals. Individuals is much more than that, because you can have a team of 5 individuals that you're in communication with. So it just helps us sort through all of the contacts and the people that we need to stay in touch to be able to source 11 deals per week and win 10 deals per year. Whatever your goals are, you need to have systems to be able to achieve your goals. So what else can I talk about? We actually have, I know our asset manager, this is an acquisition purpose, but our asset manager talks to our third-party management team very often. I believe it's more than once a week, and they actually send out weekly updates on all of our properties. So there's a lot of communication that goes in for a firm that's our size, smaller, even larger. Next thing I'd like to talk about is resources. So I put conferences on there. Obviously, I mentioned before that a lot of this in-person broker meetings was because of conferences. That's where I meet a lot of people and how I can get face-to-face with a lot of people. And not just me, other team members. So utilizing conferences such as ours, right? Like the one that's coming up in June, it's a great way to be able to meet people and follow current trends. And basically, okay, for instance, you go to a conference and you find out that Charlotte, this is just a random example, Charlotte is no longer transacting, multifamily deals are no longer transacting at a 4.5 cap. And now they're transacting at a 5.5 cap. And you only learn that because you met with 3 brokers in Charlotte, and now they're telling that to you. You're talking to operators. They're saying, I have a deal on market. We're getting 0 offers at the high pricing that we put it out on. And that helps you effectively underwrite. If you see a deal that comes out of a 4.5 cap, you could immediately say, this isn't going to work, and you can move it out or communicate that to the broker. And it just helps you organize your processes and move deals through the pipeline much faster. Something that we do, or I do, is listen to a lot of podcasts as well. If you don't want to spend money going to conferences, you obviously have podcasts that are free, whether it's Apple or whatnot, Spotify. Webinars, I mean, you guys did it. You're here, you're listening to me, you're learning about it. So and then this just plays into conferences, meeting local people in the industry. I can give an example of that. Last week, I met with a gentleman here in Austin that's actually creating a software for pipeline management. How cool is that? He's showing me the new things that we can be thinking about. I was showing him things that I was thinking about. We were just collaborating and talking about how operators like ourselves can move through a deal much faster, much more efficiently. And this is someone that is in the business and is making a software to help others. So just putting yourself out there and meeting these people, I just reached out to him. I actually went to a local real estate meetup, and that's where I met him. So there's great ways to use these resources that are available to all of us. Okay, another resource, something that we actually implemented that we were following for some time. We don't use it to the T, but an example is, Whole Foods, this is random, but Whole Foods only is located in they do so much research to where they put their locations. So you can use that to your advantages in saying, okay, if there's a Whole Foods within 5 miles, that this firm, this Whole Foods team has gone through so much demographic studies and all that to feel comfortable placing a spot here. And you can say, okay, this is a solid location because of this other firm's research. So just something to think about. You can use other people's resources to your advantage. Okay, I'm going to take a breath there. If there's any questions, I don't see any coming in. Let's see. Nothing as of yet. Here comes one. Which CRM have you used? That's a great question. We don't use Salesforce or something like that. I'm actually going to talk about this software page right here, and we kind of jerry-rigged a pipeline. What do you want to call it? We actually use DealPath. That's what I'm trying to say. DealPath is a pipeline management software platform that we were able to create some sort of CRM that basically I created it in Excel and I imported it into DealPath. And through that, I'm allowed to get reminders via email, via the software that I need to contact this person. So it's less so tracking past call logs, texts, things like that, rather reminders that I need to do such. So you don't need to overcomplicate it. You don't need to use specific softwares in order to you need to use what works for you. What I'm trying to say. All right, I want to get back to this. So let's talk about some software. These are some of we've had a pretty interesting, over the past 3 years that I've been with the company for multifamily acquisitions, we've actually changed platforms 3 or 4 times for our pipeline management. I believe the partners, before they grew into a company this size, they used maybe just Excel to track, which is very doable. I know many firms that use that, go back 10, 15 years, no one was using software. So it's very doable to use free services such as Excel. But if you want to enhance that, we actually moved into a software called Airtable, which is pictured here. Oops. It's this here. And that was great. It was fine. It was a lot of manual entry up front. It was very cheap. It worked, but we outgrew it. So we moved to Monday.com, pictured here. And this is all for pipeline management that I'm discussing. And this was great as well. It was just a better experience than Airtable. Not that Airtable was bad by any means, but Monday just did a little bit more than what we needed it to do. And then again, we outgrew that. That was also a cheap service. And then we were open-minded about moving to the next step, which is called a more expensive, more robust software. And we contemplated between DealPath and Altrio and ended up going with DealPath, pictured here in the top right. And that's what we use today. That was about a year and a half ago that we changed. And through that, we've been able to communicate very, very well, show pipelines of all of our multifamily car wash deals. And it's just, there's a lot more analytics, and you can see a picture here. There's a lot more resources and analytics applicable. I also wanted to give a shout out to REL, Real Estate Lab. This is actually a new one that's coming soon. This is actually a gentleman I met here in Austin that I just mentioned. He's building this out. It's relatively cheap compared to these here, and they're doing things a little bit different. It's very cool. So I checked that out. So you have these softwares pretty available to you. And firms like ourselves have been implementing software to be able to underwrite a deal from 3 hours to 30 minutes. Another one I'd like to highlight that's helped us very much, I've done this in the past, but it's called Red IQ. They're a parsing service where you can drop in financial documents and they'll clean them up for you nearly instantaneously, and they'll help you underwrite quicker. They'll drop it into your proprietary model, and you can just fill in a few different, it fills in all of the past expenses and rent rolls and things like that nature. So definitely check these out if you guys are interested. I have some questions coming in, so I'm going to answer those. So how do you track specific communication? Regarding third parties, I actually, like I mentioned, I have that CRM that's built out that gives me a reminder. I'm actually able to jot a few notes in those. They're called tasks within the software. So those tasks, I could just write down, had a 10-minute call with so-and-so. We talked about this deal and we should be getting it within a week. And I always timestamp it. It is always timestamped already. So that's just one way that I can jot down some notes and the entire team can see it. all of their communication internal is basically happening within Teams. That's all available for everyone. um, is I got another question. Hi, is the goal of the software to do a part of the underwriting? Some software, yes, such as Red IQ. You know, underwriting a deal can be super simple and it can be really complicated. Um, in my opinion, it's a pretty simple process once you get the understanding of the foundation of it all. But if you're doing a large quantity of deals, or underwriting and sourcing and looking at a lot of different deals, such as our team, using software such as Red IQ to help enhance underwriting and speed up the process, that is our goal. We don't want to be slow, and there's a lot more human error involved when you're not using something like this, which is okay. That always happens, but the software is quick, precise, and it's the same every single time. So it is a goal for us to use some effective software. We don't want to have thousands of different, or not thousands. You don't want to have 5 or 6 different softwares that are helping just a little bit. It's better to find 1 or 2 that really enhance what you're trying to do. And so yeah, I would say it is a goal. All right, a few more questions coming in. Less of a question. What's the difference between REL and Red IQ? That's a great question. You can definitely get free demos on any of these. And I'd recommend that, especially if you're in a phase where you're looking at a lot of software, or a lot of multifamily deals. A lot of these softwares I mentioned help with improving the systems that you have in place. So the difference between REL and Red IQ is more of a parsing software, whereas REL does parse. And what is parsing? It's just reading rent rolls and expense or P&Ls, and they basically extract that data, clean it up, and put it into your model. They do this, but they also are more of a pipeline management as well. REL, I believe, does any single modeling or parsing for any single P&Ls. I could be wrong. I'm not sure, but definitely request a demo. Let's see. What does Deal Path do beyond underwriting? Well, Deal Path, I don't want to give you the wrong interpretation. Deal Path is not underwriting anything. We still have a team that is doing all the underwriting, right? We have an analyst, Ryan, we have myself, and we have Eric, the director, who are underwriting these deals. We are the ones in the models. We use Excel. We're in the models. We're the ones dictating what should be what. We're implementing a lot of external information, whether it's rental comparables, whether it's exit cap assumptions, whether it's pricing, whether it's tax information. We're doing all of that. We're the ones that are underwriting. Deal Path is more of a, here's our underwriting. You could drop it into the software and it shows analytics. Okay, here's the 100 properties you underwrote. Here's a dashboard of everything. Here's some quick synopsis of your IRRs, your exit cap assumptions, your purchase price. So you can see a quick glance dashboard of everything. There's a lot more to it as well. But us humans, us team members are the ones that are underwriting deals. Okay, some other questions about software. I'm going to go to the questions page here. Let's see. Hi, could you please expand on what pipeline management entails? That's more just keeping track of what's a pipeline. It's just all the deals you've sourced that you're currently looking at or closed in the past, meaning passed upon, and you're just working through the process. For a multifamily deal, it takes upwards of 3 to 5 weeks of a deal from being on market to being put under contract. And then afterwards, you have about a 60 to 90-day period of due diligence and before you close on that deal. So what a pipeline is just being able to manage and understand where that deal is in that system, in that, what's it called? I guess order from sourcing to closing. And it just helps you understand what has been done already, who has done it, where all the materials are. They're accessible through softwares, and it just helps you get from the deal across the finish line. That's really what pipeline management entails. Which apps provide the industry data, or where do you source the industry data to analyze or compare your acquisitions when underwriting? That's a great question. We use a ton. There's Axiometrics, there's Yardi, there's CoStar. There's a lot of free reports from brokerage firms that you could just type into Google. You can say, it's usually the big firms, Cushman, Wakefield, 2023 market reports. And I'm sure there'll be some PDFs that you can find some market data on, which can be really helpful. So just do some quick Googling on that. You can use JLL. Let's see, Newmark put some good stuff out there. So there's firms as such that you can find free stuff. But if you want to use call it softwares, you can use the ones that I just mentioned. So CoStar, which is expensive, Yardi, Axiometrics, use census.com. It could be simple as some free services as well. Okay. Last question I'm going to answer here before I wrap up. Does Monday.com have any pipeline management capabilities? Yes, that's actually what we used it for. I think it's like $20 a month, and there's no like seats involved, meaning you don't have to pay per user. And yes, that's actually how we tracked our pipeline at one point, Monday.com. And it was just a little bit more upfront intensive, meaning that you have to create the deal, you have to type in all the information manually, which is okay. It worked very well. It's just if you're doing a ton of volume, it can kind of clog up the upfront of moving deals through the task list. Okay, if there's no more questions, I would encourage you to check out our Multifamily Investor Nation conference. Like I mentioned, I'll be speaking there. I would love to meet you guys in person. We have some keynote speakers. Dr. Robert Cialdini, he wrote the book Influence. It's a great book. Would highly recommend it. You have Mark King, I believe he's the ex-CEO of Taco Bell. So really knows the industry, the real estate industry quite well. And then you have Joe Fairless, who's a co-founder of Ashcroft Capital. So pretty robust speaker setup, and last year was quite successful, and we expect the same for this year. And if you guys have any questions for myself, my email is chris@passiveinvesting.com. I very much enjoy hosting these webinars. I appreciate you all coming in the middle of your busy day. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.